Welcome to this special edition of Church Biz here on WCEG Network. I am your host, Reverend Patrina White McClure. I'm so excited about our show on this evening. We have a very special dedication to the residents of the City of South Fulton as they are embarking upon electing a mayor. And in this particular case, it would be a re-election to the mayoralship. But before I get to that, let me mention to you that WCEG is a 501c3 nonprofit community radio station. So if you would give us a call at 404-490-8646 to make your donations to keep our voice heard, keep it alive, keep the dream alive, and sow a seed. We would so greatly appreciate that, especially in the time of censorship here in the United States. But let us understand that you can follow us anywhere: WCEG Network, WCEG Talk Radio, WCED Digital Media, uh, entertainment or enterprises, shall I say, on all platforms. That is going to be Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, Twitch, you name it, we're there. Look for us on Roku, Apple TV. Just look for WCEG Network. Google us. You can follow us on our website, www.wcegtalkradio, and we will be so honored to have your participation there. And without further ado, I would like to introduce to you none other than the mayor, William Bill Edwards. So many people call you Bill, Mayor Edwards. Welcome to Church Biz.
Well, thank you, Reverend Patrina. It's been great. Glad to be here, enthusiastic about what WCEG is doing, and that I hope the community hears what you're saying and sow a seed into WCEG to keep us going. But I'm honored and just pleased and glad to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for wanting to be here and to make known your ticket, what you're running on. But would you mind introducing to the Church Biz audience? I know some of the WCEG listeners know who you are, but would you introduce yourself to the Church Biz audience just in case they are not aware of who you are?
Absolutely, would love to do that. I'm William Bill Edwards. I was county commissioner in Fulton County for 14 years. And before that, I spent a lot of time on Old National Highway. I was the president of the Old National Merchants Association for 13 years. And later on, becoming the inaugural mayor of the City of South Fulton in 2017. And I am on a quest right now to become mayor of the City of South Fulton, its third mayor, come January or come December.
Wonderful. Now, just in case the residents are not aware, when is election date?
Well, we got election coming up. I think it's on the 14th of next month. We're having the advance voting. That'll be going on for 2 weeks. And take advantage. Listen, you guys, take advantage of the advanced voting, because with advanced voting, you can go to any voting site that's convenient to you and cast your ballot. If you wait for November 4th, when the original elections to be had, then you have to go to a specific place to cast your ballot. We found out over the years that more people are waiting. October 14th is early voting, I'm sorry. And November 4th is the actual voting day. But come out early, come out soon, bring everybody with you, and vote for William Bill Edwards.
All right. And we see that Voter registration ends on October 6th. So if you plan to vote in this coming election, October 6th, you have to have your registration done and submitted. All right. Now, what was your first introduction into politics? I know you mentioned, Atlanta, all of that, but your career as a public servant spans decades. You have a plethora of experiences in your portfolio. So when did it all begin for you?
Well, I decided years ago that I was in the insurance business and I was going to open my insurance office in a Black neighborhood, which I did. I opened it up on Old National Highway, which, by the way, my daughter runs it now, and she's still on Old National Highway. Uh, as for a while there, my manager came up to me and said she wanted me to join this group called and represent Allstate on this group called the Old National Merchants Association. So I did, and what I thought would be a year's worth of work wound up being 13 years. I often tell people the only way I got out of being president of the Old National Merchant Association, I ran for county commissioner, and that got me out of it. So I went to county commissioner. I served the unexpired term of Commissioner Michael Hightower, and I stayed there for 14 years. I think that during that time, if I recall right, I've only maybe have had two challenges to my office during the time that I was there. So, and I've been a part of the ARC. I've been a part of the chamber. I've been through a plethora of things, leadership positions, especially having those that having to do with the community.
Awesome, awesome. And I love how you mentioned the word challenges, because there is a false view that politics or politicians should be perfect and run smoothly when we have the human element involved, which means something's about to happen. It's going to pop off somewhere. So, what is your take on challenges in itself? How do you learn from them, or what?
Well, I've
Yes.
never seen many challenges. I've seen a lot of opportunities.
Okay. Awesome.
That something may look like a challenge and actually will come out being an opportunity for you to grow and do things better. Listen, I've learned one thing about elected officials and being a part of a government. If you want to be successful, if you want to be great, if you want people to respect you, it's very simple. All you have to do is serve. You can be the greatest of anything. All you have to do is serve. And I tell that to young people who want to be a part of government, and they always feel that, well, I haven't got this. But if you have a will to serve, then I will guarantee you, you will be successful as an elected official. So there's always going to be opportunities for you. Take advantage of those opportunities. And while you're in the midst of the opportunity, make sure that you serve.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I love your take on challenges, because I view them the same way. They are actually opportunities for growth or development versus being complacent and staying the same, you
Right,
know, because
right.
we all should be growing as individuals, because life's challenges change. So that demands that we pivot and respond accordingly.
Yes. You love everybody. You're not going to make everybody happy. I once found out when I was commissioner, I made my first time on the board of commissioners, I made a motion and the motion didn't get second. I was distraught. And somebody came up to me, one constituent came up to me at the end of the meeting. He said, do you think, or not, he didn't say, do you think, do you realize that you never got 100% of the vote? And and I said, you're right. Because I've never, any elected official, any politician, whatever you want to call them, nobody has ever gotten 100% of the vote. There's always people going to vote against you for some way, some reason or other. So you have to take into consideration everything you do. If you're out there looking for 100% compliance on things, you're going to get hurt because you're not going to get it. So so all you can do is serve. The facts are very important when you're serving. You got to be truthful and respectful with your facts and how do you approach people. You always approach people. You got to be humble, and you got to approach everybody you see, respect whether they like you or don't like you.
And that is so critical whenever you are in politics, really in any form of relationship. You have to respect other people's opinions. I remember my father used to say, if any two of you agree on everything, then one of you was not necessary. And so politics would be the epitome of that particular saying, because so many people have different backgrounds and they're trying to mesh it all together and make it work. But unrealistically, we think everybody's supposed to do it our way when we should look for the win-win in a given situation. So, how does that particular point play in politics?
Well, I've always told people one thing I do not like, and that's basically be called a politician. I'm a public service.
Okay, okay.
I keep using that word all the time, and I always come to either I'm a public servant or just service or servant because it's so important that when you're representing and trying to build these coalitions and things of that nature, that you're serving and you're serving properly. So the connotations of being, I tell this joke, Pastor. I say, politicians kiss babies, shake hands, and go to jail. I don't want to be the, I don't mind kissing the babies and shaking hands, but the third part is kind of rough for me. So I consider myself a public servant. Everything I do and everything I should do is tied to service.
Beautiful. I had to write it down so that I can make sure I say public servant or public
Oh,
service.
I understand.
Okay. Now getting a little bit more into the meat of the interview.
Sure.
Um, Everybody that's in the metro Atlanta area knows about the city of South Fulton, Georgia, and I'm sure it's been an example for cities across the nation about the current turmoil that it continues to find itself in. In light of that, what steps would you take to improve transparency and public trust in government?
First, let me just tackle the issue of transparency. Okay,
Okay.
transparency does not begin when something happens.
Okay.
At the end of something, you know what I mean? There's an issue comes up, and then all facts come out, and you see all this stuff, and they say we're just trying to be transparency should start from the beginning.
Right.
And I hear that term all the time. And by the time you get into the issue of transparency in some government, it's already happened. And no matter what you bring to the table, it really doesn't make it any different. All it does is make you try to make yourself look a little better in life. But let me just tell you what I feel. In 2017, Pastor, we agreed that we were going to become a city. All right. And let me make it clear. I was not on that team to becoming a city at first. I was a commissioner, but I didn't think they were ready for several reasons why we shouldn't become a city. But when it came around again, I was 100% ready to work with the group and to make the city happen. So in 2017, we became a city. But what happened? Actually, they voted to have 7 people represent them as a city. All right. Mm. And here's what we were saying. You do the political part, we give you the resources, and that's the deal. All right? Pastor, that deal has never been sealed. It has never been sealed. Now, what do I mean by that? Here's where we are today. I'm running based on 4 different things. One is sustainability. We're going to have to look at our leadership in the city. And we're going to have to decide how we're going to handle it. We got to look at some policy changes that may have to go so that we can be assured that this government runs freely and runs sufficiently as we want it. I am tired. I am tired of being on TV every weekend. I'm tired of going out of town and telling people that I'm from South Fulton. They look at me like, really? I mean, not just next door as far as Park or Union City. I'm talking about, Pastor, around the country. People say that about this beautiful opportunity that we have, we call South Fulton. So we're going to have to look at how sustainable we are. A lot of things are coming down from the federal government. The big ugly bill. And what happens in that is that the federal government is cutting back on a lot of things that they used to do for state and local government. We see it every day. Fulton County has to tighten this belt and not increase their budget. State of Georgia has to tighten this belt. You know, they're talking about now they may have to cut back on defunding some hospitals. But that's what we have to do because of this guy we call the president. What his number was he? 44? What number would you say, Pastor, he was?
47.
47, whatever he is. Okay.
Whatever that. Yeah, 47.
So we have to be able to sustain ourselves. All right. Economic development. Now, you hear it all the time. We need more economic development. It's very important. Because right now, a lot of what we do is on the backs of residential homeowners in terms of taxes accruing. We need to have some different kind of economic development. And Pastor, I may be criticized for saying this, but I want people to understand. I don't have a problem with a hair shop. You know, I don't have a problem with, stuff like that, small business. I really don't. And I thank for every one of them, all right? Because they add to the bottom line of our tax. But we got to go to the next level, Pastor. We got to go to the office part, the office, and things like that, so that they can help us and offset the amount of taxes that we're paying into the government. Now, having said that, you want to make sure that people come to your community. They won't come to your community if you're fighting on TV every week, or if you're not getting along. A Fortune 500 company is not going to come if you're not getting along. If you look like you're in conflict with your colleagues, and if you look like everything's about me. Fortune 500 companies not going to do that. You're not going to even get a good bond rating or a good credit rating, even though it is based on your financials, but your attitude and how you present yourself also plays into that. It's a problem. So people want to move here. That's a problem for them. Secondly, there's only 2 reasons why people move to your community. One is they want to feel safe. The second reason is they want to make sure their child can be educated. Now let's hark on that second one for a minute. Nobody wants to go where the child can't be educated. That's a direct impact on your ability to bring in economic development. So what do you have to do? We have to work with our school board and others to show, because we have a lot of schools here, Pastor, that are doing well. I mean, we're sending kids to MIT, to Harvard, Morehouse, Clark, everywhere. We're sending kids. We're sending kids who have come in these schools who are getting millions of dollars worth of scholarship individually. But who knows about it? They know about the fights. They know about the football game or the basketball game. But who knows about the great things that we're doing in our schools with our kids and with our teachers? All of our kids are not bad. All of our instructors are not bad. But we have to tell people that we're from South Fulton. This is our school. And we love this school. And this school has achieved X, Y, Z. Give us the respect that we need. That has a direct effect on your bottom line of your economic development. Other thing I'm running on is very simple. You know, we just had an issue with a argument about putting a cap on our millage rate, right? You heard that going on. I had to take a laugh at that, because the only reason why that argument came up is because people did not trust our government. You got to trust your government. And so it was never about the money and what you might do with it. It's about trust. It's always been about trust. Why are we sitting here laboring over an issue like that when I tell you that what they want to do with the money and the interest rate they got, it was fine. But one thing boiled down to trust. And so when you have a trust issue, this is my third thing. When you have a trust issue, you have an accountability issue. There's three words that you know the City of South Fulton needs to get rid of: me, my, and I. We need to be one city of South Fulton, not a city with 7 districts, and these districts feel that they cities also. We got to work together with each other. We're going to have to communicate better, collaborate better. And let me tell you, we're going to have to learn that we're not in this box by ourselves. We're going to have to learn to really get help or give help to other governments. You know, join in with other governments to see if we can make things better, not only for ourselves, but for the region. At what time we get to do all this, I don't know, because we are too engrossed in personality. We're too engrossed in the me, my, and I syndrome. Give you a classic example. We have a good thing. We have turkey giveaways, right? We have 7 turkey giveaways, 1 in every district. What is wrong with having 1 or 2 turkey giveaways and pull them together? Because I guarantee you, now you may not believe this, but I'm going to tell you what happens. A lot of people get 3 or 4 turkeys everywhere they go. A lot of them is not even from my community. And I'm not bashing us to say we don't need to do it anymore. Yes, we do need to do it. But we can consolidate and save ourselves some money if we do 1 or 2. All right. So lastly, the most important aspect of what I'm trying to do is that we must learn to listen to our constituents. That's where the problem is. This government has, the constituency just got to be a part of this government. Before we do things, we need to run it by our citizens, see what they say. I mean, we may do it the way we think we want to do it. I mean, that's okay. But the fact, man, we have the most uneducated, and I want to say that, but I want to clarify. It's only about government. We have not educated our constituency to understand what we do. An educated constituency is the best constituency you can have. So I want to listen. How are you going to listen, Bill? Well, I'm going to have listening sessions. I'm going to go out to communities. Everybody don't go. Everybody can't get out on Wednesday night. They're down at Bible study. You know, everybody don't have a community sometimes. Sometimes you got to buy some stamps. But the word has got to go out as to how we're doing. And Pastor, I know you're familiar with the story of David. And I was at church. I was visiting two churches, and both pastors was preaching from that. And I'm sitting there, and I know the story too. But what really got me is, you know how David was ridiculed by his brothers and all these little things he had. But what got me was, and I never thought this before, when he fought the bear, and he had to remove the lamb from the bear's mouth. All right. Now here's the important thing. Even after he did that, Pastor, I don't need to tell you this, he still had to deal with the bear. and then after the bear, he dealt with that fool called Goliath. But I'm saying that to say this. We can stop the bleeding, all right? But even if we stop the bleeding, we got to go back to the cause of why we were bleeding in the first place. And look at that, make laws, change policies, and whatever we got to do, and make people know that we're here as a gather, 7 of us, but we need to be one. Once we start that, I think that we can be in the process of moving. And I'm the person to do that. I've had the experience. I have the relationships with not only with people that are around here in the city, but other governments. I brought in the amphitheater. That's my project. The Performing Arts Center. I did that. The library on Butler Road, or Eno Road, rather. I did that. And so many other things. But I did it without hassle, without fuss. I brought my colleagues in so we can be as one as we go forward to bring these things to our community. I want to do that again, Pastor.
Beautiful. Now, you mentioned that part of this takes listening to the constituents. Is the listening sessions the same as the town halls, or are they separate moves up under your leadership?
Listen, what happens at town hall meetings? People come out there, they bring the director of finance, they bring the director of roads, they bring all these people, right? Listen, I'll bring them if I have to, all right? But I just want to sit down in the chair. I don't want to be formal. I just want to sit down in the chair and talk to Miss Jones, Mr. Roberts, and let's just have a family talk. And because we have problems when we do things. You're not there as an elected official. You can't say you're not there to serve us. I'm going to go back to the word to service, not serve us. When you get in the serve us mind, then you create problems for yourself. And those problems usually come from lack of communication with those. Community people have a what I want to call it. They have a stake in what you do. They have a stake in what you do because they're the ones who's going to pay the bills. So remember I told you that that this whole thing, this deal was never sealed. And we got to seal that deal. And there's 4 things that I just mentioned that I think that I'm going to be working on. And I'm going to tell you, it ain't going to take long to turn it around. Some guy walked up to me and said that, man, you get in there, it's going to take you a long time to turn things around. No, it's not. I'm buying that over. That's not going to take no long time.
Amen.
It's just going to be able to really just bring in what's right, hold people accountable for what's right, make sure that they're doing what they're doing in terms of service, not to themselves or not to people in their district, but as a whole. Uh, and you'll see people engaging better, and you see people start moving into a positive mode. And we at that time will become one South Fulton.
Beautiful. I know several people who live in the South Fulton area, and I've grown a fondness of that particular city, especially since being a part of the WCEG network family, because several of the members live down there. But through them, I've become acquainted with more citizens, and they really, really love the city. And I'm going back to what you said about people wanting to move to an area for safety and educational purposes. But there were two people who asked me, "I'm looking to move. Where would you send me, or what city would you recommend?" I immediately went to City of South Fulton, even though I live in another one.
Mm-hmm.
And I love where I live, but if I was looking for a place, I would consider that particular area. And one of the people I gave that recommendation to said, I was listening to the news and dot 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 dot. And so that was a quick turn off, and they said, "I'm going to Cobb County now."
Yes.
And I hurt for the residents there because so many of them love that city. They love that area, and they feel ashamed of what's happening with their city government, and all of the information that comes out in the news, and like you said, it's already done happened by the time it gets there, because some watchdog unit has reported this is what's going on. So when you speak of accountability, how do you hope to hold those seven persons accountable for being knowledgeable of the city's current strategic plan, whether or not they have adequate experience? And how do you propose to even educate them if they aren't?
So let me give you a quick lesson on municipal government, okay? Especially one as young as ours. Municipal government, the Bible for running municipal government is called the Charter. The Charter sets forth everything you can and cannot do as you're conducting your government. We have not been running this government to the letter of the Charter. We've not been going to the letter of the law. Give you a classic example. The Charter says that those who have the job or the office of councilman or councilwoman, that their job is to make policy. Now, once they make policy, that policy is supposed to be carried out by a person who holds the responsibility of city manager. City manager is the person who runs the city. Everything, maybe a couple of things that don't come under there, but everything comes under the city manager. Now you say that seems to be pretty much of everything, but then here comes the mayor. The mayor's responsibility is to be the voice, the face of the city, all right? The only power that he really has is the power to veto. So you're saying, well, what is he there for? Well, you have to have someone in that office who can sit down with his colleagues, man to man, woman, whatever, woman to man, and talk about the issues and try to see where it's going to be profitable for the citizens and move in that direction. That's your job, is to do that. And you're here to sell this city. A lot of things that happens to us a lot of time in the city too is that we as citizens talk about ourselves. We get out and talk about how bad South Fulton is. Oh, I wish if I had the money, I'd leave. All right. Well, don't leave. January help is coming.
All right.
You're gonna you're gonna be able to say that I really, really like this city and appreciate it. This is a great city, Pastor. We just need to make some changes, some slight turns on the dial to get us moving in the right direction. We paying money to people, man. It's amazing. I bet you half the people don't know how much money we're paying in salaries. And some of the people, I'll be honest with you, I think is overpaid in terms of what their job should be. But we're going to have to look at that. You know, we talk about sustainability. We talked about sustainability, right?
Right.
We're paying these exorbitant salaries. Can we keep them up? Or are we going to go back 2 or 3, 4 years ago and try to hit our savings to get more money to sustain our position? Gotta look at that. Gotta look at that. So I would say to you that South Fulton is not gone. It's very much alive. We just gotta breathe some more heart into it. And by doing that, you'll see people start to rise and start to take up for this city, start to be ambassadors for the good things that are happening in this city, not calling them the bush because of the bad things that happen in the city. So I don't think it's a hard plan to do. I just think it's a turning of the dial, and we will definitely be there in no time.
So, is there a particular office, or are you planning on sitting one in place where that is a part of your office's task or that particular team's task to go and listen to the residents and to show them how they can better participate in the movement of the city of South Fulton versus sitting back and waiting for it to happen?
It's going to be me. It's going to be me.
Okay.
It's going to be me in my office. Let me clear something else up that people need to know. The mayor doesn't hire anybody. That's the job of the city manager in terms of department heads and stuff like that. But what the mayor does, there are certain jobs, like the city manager, that the mayor can make recommendations to the city council as to the hiring of this individual. And tell them as a city council why they think this would be a good person for the job. But you're going to need 4 votes. And I tell folks all the time, people get in these races, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. You're not going to do anything if you don't have 4 votes behind you. Now, that may seem unsettling sometimes, but let me tell you, I've had to have 4 votes when I was commissioner. I've had to have 4 votes when I was mayor. But it comes to a mutual respect of your colleagues and you. The ability to talk to someone and express your views, they express theirs, and see if you can meet some common ground to move something forward. That's the way you do it. So I always tell people, if you ain't got 4, you ain't got nothing but conversation. So a mayor has to be, I hope I'm painting the picture to you. A mayor has to be, kind of the liaison between a lot of things. All right. Like I can't tell you that I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna have a new police chief or whatever case may be, right? It's not my job. If I have an issue with anybody and I talk the issue over with the city manager, who in turns, we can come up to something where this person is not good for us. And I'm not saying, please, y'all, I'm not saying we need to get the police chief. I'm just using this example. But that we have to come to some meeting of the mind and say, well, this person is not good for any of us. And more or less is not good for the city. So that's what mayors do, who are truly mayors. Now, You'll never see me flying off of Africa because I can't get past, Dolores will tell you I can't get past an hour and a half on a plane. So yeah, you won't ever have to worry about me doing that. And I gotta say you this too. This was some historical facts. Let's take the first 4 years of the city. I was the mayor. It was rough. I was happy about being mayor, but when I got up this morning, I had to ask myself, what am I mayor of? I had no office, no telephone. I had my 7 colleagues that were with me who we did. No police force, no fire, no nothing. We brought in, but we survived. We brought in at that time. We had $80 million of debt, and we had 60 million in the bank. No, that doesn't add up too much, does it? But we persevered. We bought all the transfer stuff from the city over to the county. From the county over to the city, I was a part of that transfer. We also brought in, onboarded something like 500 employees, so that we can start doing our own thing. We had a 12-month contract with the city, with the county, to do our fire and police at an extraordinary amount of fee, but we had no choice. But we were able to get pay that contract out and bring our own stuff in within 11 months. We also had to do 2 loans. But we got 2 loans. One of the loans would help us the stuff that we brought in. It needed upgrading and stuff like that for us to use. So we had to get loans to that. Remember now, we had $80 million. We had 60 million in the bank. So we borrowed 2 loans, and for 12 months, Pastor, we paid both of those loans off in 11 months, and we were still solid. But after the whole thing was over, we come in with $80 million worth of debt. When I left in 4 years, we had over $75 million in the bank.
Wow.
And we did not have, we wasn't on TV every week. We didn't have a whole lot of fuss. So, and I'll tell you this, my finance department was given a state award for presenting their numbers and figures and stuff. We won the state award for that. New City. My HR department, it also won the award as one of the best HR departments in the state of Georgia. New City, trying to grow and trying to hold on. So we pass this on. I don't understand why we have backlogged 2 years of financial reporting. It doesn't make sense to me. I gave you a clean slate. All you had to do was just follow the rail. But somewhere down the line, we got out of whack. People are coming in, we hiring more people and losing more people than you would think. The morale is down with the employees. And we're buying a lot of stuff. I hope they understand. I told somebody the other day at a meeting, I said, fooling is money, we'll part. We got money. Don't get me wrong, this city is not broke. So you're not close to being broke. All right. And so we just got to be better stewards of what we have. And we need to come back and make sure that whatever we do in the future, because remember now, the big, beautiful bill is coming. And some of those things that you're going to be cutting in the big, beautiful bill are things that was provided by the state, provided by the county, and in some places, sometimes provided by the city for money that we got from the federal government. If that money is not coming down like it was, Pastor, we all have to get together to do something. So it's not feasible to sit down and do a lot of spending right now when you don't know what's coming down down the pipes for us in 26.
In fact, one of my favorite hair supply stores in this city that I live in, they moved and consolidated two stores. And
Yes,
that was the same reasoning that they said they don't have any idea of what all of the political changes are going to bring about. So to make it convenient for the shoppers to where on the side of town I live on, they said we got to give it up. We can't keep two. So I'm just saying that you have to have a business mindset in order to operate a city, uh, uh, a whole city. I
sure you
mean,
do.
so it's not just about the heart issue, that's a part of it, but you also have to make some decisions that you don't want to make in light of what's coming down the pipe that no one really sees. Now, before we move forward, I have to make a disclaimer and let everybody know I'm not telling you to vote for Mayor Edwards. I can't do that because of my position, but he has a plethora of experience in the area of public service. And Mayor Edwards, I do want to mention how the reason why you went out of office seemed to be the demands of a younger and newer generation and cultural demands. And now we see that you can't just cut from experience and go on a whim. There has to be a fostering of habits and mindsets and ideologies, if you will, on how to run cities adequately and the type of character that's necessary to keep the city
Yeah.
going. So, how do you propose to bridge the generational gap? Because I'm sure there are some young people who have been dismayed by what's happening and that kind of took the fire out when you said if they have a fire to do something for public service or become a public servant, that they need to pursue that. While the older generations are saying, yeah, we tried to tell y'all, but, you know.
Well, I tell you, a gentleman, one of the mid, he was middle aged, I guess. He came up to me, Pastor. He said, "Do you know what the difference between the first 4 years and the second 4 years of this city?" I said, "Well, I probably could give you a lot of reasons." He said, "No, there's only one, Bill." I said, "What?" He said, "The adult left the room."
Mm, mm,
I had to stop a minute, and I was like, "Hmm." He said, "When the adult left the room, the children went crazy." Uh, I this whole gap between ages and Gen Z and baby boomers, at some point in time, it shouldn't be competitive. Like everything else, everybody should get together for the sake of doing good for the city. I mean, everybody got their wants. Uh, right now, we have the lowest voting percentage. Why is that? Of all our races we have in South Fulton, we only get about 2% of the people that come to vote. We got 118,000 folks. I don't understand. So I would want to do is to get a collaboration with everybody. The Gen X's, the baby boomers, whatever you want to call yourself, LBGTQZ, whatever, whatever. We need to work together as a unified effort as a city, because there's room at the table. There's room at the table for anybody. I can invite you. Either you come into the either they're gonna talk about you either when you come into the room, or if you ain't in the room, then you're on the table. All right, you're on the menu. So we don't want people to be on the menu. So we want you to come in there and part. This whole thing about cooperation, communication, and doing what's right and being a servant. It has no age boundaries. It has no age boundaries. Uh, I was asked if one guy told me, said, "Well, I was going to vote for you last time, but I thought we needed to change." And my response to that was simply, "Well, how did that work out for you?" and so, and so now, and the other thing I want to let you know, see, I never stopped working. I could tell you some things I've done since I've been out of office, having to do with stability of of the city, that would probably blow your mind. All right. But it all comes, a lot of it came out because of the fact that I had a relationship with the governor, with the mayor, with the chairman of the board for the county. And we had to use me to get those influences back at the table. And I did that. And we were able to, I said, wasn't one of the things, well, y'all don't want me, so I ain't doing nothing. I freely and willfully, and a lot of the council people would tell you he did that. All right, for them. And so, this whole ad is about, I lost the race, so I'm gonna go. I don't care what happens over it. I didn't take that attitude. I continued to work and tried to continue to help the city move forward as best I could.
And that's when you know it's a calling versus something that you're taking up to do to satisfy a lack somewhere in your character.
Right.
When you're in it, when your heart is in it, when it's your calling to do public service, uh, uh, people tend to stay behind the scenes. Even Atlanta's former mayors, I'm aware of different things that they continue to do even
Absolutely.
after being out of office,
Absolutely.
on paper, out of the news.
Yes.
But these people keep hustling behind the scenes because they love what they do. They're passionate, and God called them to public service. Um, Now, one other question, and then I want to also mention how church and politics work together. Now, one of the most popular questions on the plate is, what are we going to do about Fulton Industrial? Who owns it?
Okay. That's a very easy question. Fulton Industrial Boulevard, right?
Yes.
When they did the redistricting for Fulton for the city, they didn't draw in Fulton Industrial Boulevard. So Fulton Industrial Boulevard was still a part of what they call unincorporated Fulton County.
Mm.
So what we tried to do, because we wanted Fulton Industrial Boulevard, so we tried to do was we sent lobbyists, we sent attorneys for about 2.5 years to persuade the legislature to give us Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Okay, they did not do it. Now this is a true story, Pastor. I asked the council to send me and Hush. They agreed. I went in there, met with the governor, who y'all didn't know this, but I had a standing meeting with the governor the first week of every year. I had a standing meeting with him. And we went in, and we all talked. I had my city manager with me, O.D. Donald. And we went in and we talked about this issue of Fulton Industrial. Here was my defense. The people of South Fulton had all these years paid for services on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. You were literally stealing to the tune of about $9 million of services that was impacted by these citizens. That's not right. To make a long story short, because of our communication, because of things, the bill was introduced to bring South Fulton, Fulton Industrial Boulevard into South Fulton. And before I go back to that, therefore, I said, what does that look like? I posed on the table. I said, we'll take from I-20 back toward our city. You all can have I-20 going the other way. I never thought it would go. I never thought that would have any legs, but it did. All right. And so at the end of the day, the bill was in. The it passed with just one dissenting vote out of the House and the Senate. Mm. At 12 o'clock, it had not been signed. It was the last bill to be signed on that day, and they held over signing that to get that bill done. And then the next thing people tell me, well, the governor ain't gonna sign it. I said, yes, he is. I did that. We brought in $9 million of additional income to our bottom line. So Fulton Industrial Boulevard is a part of the city of South Fulton.
All right. Wonderful, wonderful. That's good to know for those who want to. I remember in the news, I think it was sometime last year when the tornado hit out in that area, and there was a debate. Who owns it? Who's going to clean it up? Who's going to fix the power lines? And I didn't really fully follow the story, but I'm like, that is such a good question because I don't even know, you know. So,
Pastor, I tell you something else when you talk about the city and what I was faced with. You know, all the deficit in the money, having to do the loans, you know, just all this stuff. Trying to get more people in, but yet and still doing all those things and yet winning awards. All right. But guess what happened to them? Shortly after that, I got hit by the worst tornado off of South Fulton Parkway that you ever want to see. I've been here. I mean, even when I was back at Morehouse, I didn't ever stop, but this was devastating. I mean, it looked like a third world country, right? And I said, oh my God, what's next? I mean, you know, I had scuffling. I'm trying to do these things, but you know, all you can say is, won't he do it? Yeah. and so I called on the mayor of Fabric. And I said, I need your help. Because it was pretty close to Fabric. All right. And I said, I need your help. That mayor bought fire trucks. She bought ambulance. She bought herself in a pair of jeans with a rake. Every day. She helped me. That's what I'm talking about when you start talking about relationships. Right. So we get that done. We fight with insurance companies about not treating people right, not rebuilding things that need to be built. Then we find out that some people, they don't have insurance. You know, so we go through all of that. So guess what happens several months later? COVID. COVID hits us. And we don't have, the city don't have the financial ability to do a lot of things we could do. So we called the county. And with the county's help, we were able to set up these little, you may have seen these COVID stations where people drive up and get their vaccinations and stuff like that. Well, that was the city and the county together. And we were able. So once again, I tell you about cooperation and relationships with other government sectors. Those things have to be in order to move forward. So that's how we were able to do that. It was a trying time, but now we were overcoming. But now it's time to live.
All right.
It's time to us to really live now.
All right. Now, shout out to Mayor Liz for all of her help with
Yeah,
the tornado fallout, all of
yeah.
that. Just to bounce.
She was a queen.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. I do want to bounce back momentarily to the Fulton or the Fib, Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Are there also plans for more development and business and commerce? I know that most of us are acquainted with the unsavory businesses there, but there are some good quality businesses already starting to filter in. What does that process do? How, if I wanted to open a business there, what all would I have to do in order to
um,
influence the commerce?
well, first of all, the type of businesses that you have on Fulton Industrial is medium to light to heavy industrial. All right, that's
Okay.
the zone. Uh, I can tell you that we started it was called the Fulton Industrial Business Association at first, and now they've changed their name. But if you go over there, their corridor has changed tremendously. When you get off of I-20, have you been there? You see
Yes.
those businessmen got together and did that. With the help of the police department, they were able to remove some of those unsavory type businesses that you have. And so, what I can say is, if last I heard that Fulton Industrial Boulevard was like 96% occupied.
Okay.
So we have done something that we needed to do, and so I don't think you're going to be able to put a chicken house over there, chicken shack, you know, that over in the corporate area. I say that, but I don't know. But it's doing well. It is doing well. We don't have the problems over there we used to have. And I think has to do with, as a lot has to do with the city in its inception and the police department willingness to go in and stop a lot of the stuff going on over there. And to the businessmen. They meet every month. They've gotten to the point now that they even help with the financing of a lot of the road issues in terms of traffic lighting and things of that nature. We have come that far with this organization. So they meet every month. They're a great bunch of guys, a great bunch of landowners we have over there, and working together collaboratively. This is what happens.
And that goes back to relationship again.
Yes.
You know, there's only so much you're going to accomplish in life without relationship. There's no such thing as me, my, and I, like you
No,
mentioned earlier,
no.
because God has created us where, like they used to say, no man is an island unto himself. In other words, everything you do touches somebody else. Even if you smoke and you get cancer, somebody else is going to be brought in on a health plan because they got to help take care of you. The money's got to come somewhere. Or even if you go shoot somebody else, I'm just pulling things out the hat here. Uh, uh, God has made us to where we are in a human relationship with one another, whether we choose to be or not. And I love how you have chosen to capitalize upon the relationships you developed over the years from your service down off of Old National all the way to Atlanta and now in the city of South Fulton. And we are basically a little bit over our time, but that's okay. Are
Okay.
there any closing remarks that you would have regarding your run for re-election to be the mayor of the
Just
city of South Fulton?
just briefly, and that is that I love this city. I love this city when I first took over as its inaugural mayor in 2017. I didn't like I didn't like what has been happening recently as to what we're doing, but it's okay. We can change that. Uh, if we work together as a unified group, we can change that overnight. I do believe that. I don't have to run. I'm not running to be mayor. I've been the mayor. I understand that. I'm not running to be Fulton County council or commissioner. I've been that. I'm running out of the love for this city, not the title, or not to tell you what I can do or when I get in, as if we don't understand the full vote process. But I'm doing it out of love. I don't have to do it, but I love the city, and I want to make sure that it becomes the city that it needs to be. And so nothing personal with me. I'm not into the glory of being mayor. I mean, that's all right, but it doesn't do a whole lot of things for me. I just want this city to be what it is for our city, for our seniors, for our younger people, and for our infants and our children.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. And I just want to close by telling our Church Biz audience and those who are aware of this interview, if you're trying to figure out what do politics have to do with religion, and I want to say they have a lot. I'm not going to say everything, but a lot. Even when you look all throughout biblical history, all peoples of faith have been impacted directly by decisions made by political leaders. So to say that there is a separation of church and state, that's a fallacy. The Bible even tells us to pray for our government leaders. So we have a direct responsibility, a mandate from God to pray for people like Mayor Bill Edwards and those who are in office now. As Mayor Edwards has already said, the big, beautiful slash ugly bill that is presenting uh, 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 movements or decisions that will impact the people of faith. So we need to become more educated on uh, politics, our role in it, because we have one. If they make a decision for taxes to go up, we got to pay them, that kind of thing. So it would behoove us, it would benefit us to find out what God has called us to do, what role, whether we need to be in front or just behind the scenes and vote. You can at least register and vote. Again, early registration for the city of South Fulton, Georgia. The registration to vote ends on October 6th, and then early voting begins October 14th for 2 weeks, and then the election is on November 4th for your selection of who you want to be your mayor. No vote is a vote. And like Mayor Edwards has said, about 12% of people only vote. That's a little bit over 2,000 people, everybody, out of what did you say, 118,000 people. You can help make a decision here. Do your part. Don't just exist and then complain. No, be quiet and go do something.
Yes.
So head out, everybody. We got biblical mandates all throughout scripture that tell us we need to be actively engaged in this thing called politics, and in this particular case, public servanthood. Let us vote for the best candidate possible that's going to help meet some of our needs. A politician, a government worker, a public servant, they can't meet all of our needs. That's God's job.
Yes.
but he has selected those to fulfill this particular calling or these callings, and you have a role in it. And I want to do, like I always say, everybody in Church Biz audience, I want you to take care of yourself, but pay attention to what's going on. And by all means, pray, pray, and then pray some more. Take
Absolutely.
care and be blessed.
Thank you all.